Happy Friday, all you mentees! This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me for an advanced look at the Batgirl Returns Omnibus from DC Comics. Let's do it! And welcome back, everybody! Now, this is continuing DC's tradition, I assume it's a tradition now, of publishing DC Omnis from the New 52 era. We've had a lot of them. We have another one coming out with Swamp Thing during the New 52 era. Now, we don't have a volume 2 of this, so I think the only ones that have had a complete New 52 collection has actually been Nightwing, my favorite character. It went from Nightwing all the way into Grayson. No other characters has had it, I don't think, but please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But now we have Batgirl. This is Gail Simone's Batgirl. Let's look at it. And here is what the spine looks like. And then the back. Now, this omnibus is due out in the book and direct market on March 16th. So we have a cover here by Adam Hughes. And again, the spine has got a purple tone to it. There we go. With another Adam Hughes. Well, it's the same picture from issue number 1. And I think that's Alex Gardner, if I'm not mistaken, on the back here. Now let's look at it under the dust jacket. Now that is definitely Alex Gardner. That's from the Wanted storyline. So before opening this up, here's what the spine looks like. And then the back. It's like a purplish design, painted design. But all of this has been previously collected in standard size hardcover format and in trade paperback format. As a matter of fact, all of those trade paperbacks are collected in this Batgirl Returns Omnibus, with the exception of one issue, which surprises me, and I'll talk about that here in a second. That is a beautiful cover by Alex Gardner, by the way. Oh, and so nobody freaks out, that one missing issue is not that big of a deal at all, at least to me. So we have Batgirl Returns Omnibus here. I really like these bookend pages. There's a classy feel to it with a bunch of painted bats. Batgirl Returns Omnibus, and here's all your creators, mainly Gail Simone telling the story. You have Marjorie Bennett doing a couple of fill-ins. I think she did the annual, and then you have Ray Fox helping out with a couple of issues in there. Ardian Siaf is the main artist, as well as Fernando Pasarin and Daniel Sampera. Now, there's also Ed Benes in here that helps out, Carl Kessel. And I love those Ed Benes issues because he brings the cake. This is interesting. This is how it kicks off. 3 years after a savage attack that nearly ended her life, the brilliant Barbara Gordon returns to the streets as both survivor and avenger. So that's where this kicks off. But rest assured, if you've never read this, I'm not going to spoil how this happens. So what you need to know going into this is this takes place in the New 52 era, where they rebooted a lot of their characters, including Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. So before this era, after the Killing Joke, Barbara Gordon was paralyzed from the waist down, so she was in a wheelchair, and she took on the handle of Oracle, helping out heroes behind the scenes, behind a computer screen. One of my favorite characters of all time, and also played a big role in the Birds of Prey, which Gail Simone wrote. So when the editors at DC decided to bring back Barbara Gordon, let her be able to walk again, and just bring her back as Batgirl, a lot of fans like myself were upset. And then when we heard that Gail Simone was attached to the project, we were like, okay, if anybody can do it, it's got to be Gail. So that's kind of where we are here. So what they did is retcon it and say that, you know what, she did get shot. Where's that 3 years? Sorry, I meant to go back here. 3 years after a savage attack. So it's odd, first of all, that this is 3 years after The Killing Joke, considering how long ago The Killing Joke was written. But hey, comic book math, right? So this is, again, playing parts of The Killing Joke. She's got flashbacks to it, horrible PTSD, of course, from it, but she was able to recover. So she just recently recovered from this attack. She's able to walk again, and she is now back in Gotham playing the role of Batgirl. So you have artwork in here. This is Ardian's artwork, who to me always reminded me of like a mix of Ed Benes, Andy Kubert, and a little bit of like Ken Lashley. So that's whose art this reminds me of. So this omnibus here only collects the Gail Simone run of the New 52. So again, it's a reboot of the character of Barbara Gordon coming back and playing the role of Batgirl. Now, some things have also changed too, because if she's only been Batgirl for about 4 years, which is insane, but whatever, again, comic book math and years, then they had to retcon some of the things that have happened with some of the other characters that have played the role of Batgirl. So I'll let you find all that stuff out. I'll let you find out how she's able to walk, how she got away with it. So all of this, like I mentioned, just collects the main run of Batgirl by Gail Simone. So it's only Batgirl. You don't have anything afterwards by Cameron Stewart. So this collects issues 0 through 34. So it does include the 0 issue in here. The Young Romance New 52 Valentine Uncanny Omar Talk Pretty One Day. Valentine's Day Special number 1. Batgirl, the first 2 annuals of the New 52 era. Batman The Dark Knight 23.1. And Futures and number 1 Batgirl. Now, what this does not collect is, surprisingly, Batman number 17. As I said, not a big deal. That's been collected everywhere. But it's surprising because after Batgirl number 17, all of the Bat family that ended in issue 17 continues into Batman 17, which is the death of the family storyline. So, interesting it's not in here. They don't give you a recap or anything. But I did want to point that out. See what I mean by Andy Kubert, Ed Benes kind of style? So, but it's interesting because it's all collected in the Nightwing. It's collected in the trade paperback versions of this. But maybe to save a little page room, I don't know. Keep costs down. So speaking of cost, the book retails for $99.99. It has 960 pages. Here's her reunion with Black Canary. Even her dad, Commissioner Gordon. He's also gotten a lot younger. So it kicks off with this mystery of this character known as the Mirror, who's going around. He has a kill list, and Barbara Gordon is on the kill list. Then we get a little bit of a family reunion here, which is kind of interesting and crazy, something that they haven't really done. Because for the longest time, Barbara Gordon has played the role of Oracle, so she hasn't been doing anything in the likes of superheroics, like flipping around buildings and stuff, or fighting a bunch of criminals left and right. Mainly she was confined to a wheelchair, and she did kick ass, don't get me wrong, she's one of my favorite characters of all time, but it's a lot different than her flipping around and kicking bad guys left and right. So we're introduced to a whole new different type of villains, not just people like the Calculator that play a role behind the scenes, but now she's able to fight these characters. So I think that's why we're introduced to a lot of different type of villains. So here we are with the team up with Batwoman, and I think Ed Benes. Yeah, there's that cake. Ed Benes. Dude, love that guy's artwork. I kind of wish he was the one that had taken over the role of the artist of Batgirl when it first kicked off. Actually, I think because of that cover by Adam Hughes, I really thought he was going to be. So, I think this is from issue number 0. This is the flashback issue, so this is her first time she donned the costume of Batgirl. It's a little bit of flashback with, this is it. So, it tells you the story of how she became Batgirl. Again, retconning some things. Because, DC does that after a crisis. To team up with Catwoman. Yeah. And this is the artwork by Admira, I believe. It looks like it's beautiful painted. There's the Joker. Okay, by now, Fernando Pasarin is taking on the main role of the artist here. So this is pretty interesting, right? Because then halfway through here, there's that Joker death of the family storyline. Halfway through here, something happens where there's a storyline called Batgirl Wanted, where her own father turns against her. And you can find out how all that is resolved. And then all of this leads up to a team up with the Birds of Prey. Oh, there's vampires in here too. Yeah. Batman does show up in here. Nightwing shows up, of course. You saw that team up with Batwoman. But what I was going to say is this all leads up to the final storyline that she wrote, which is a team up with the Birds of Prey. So it's like a reunion of the Birds of Prey. Let me see if I can find that. Ragdoll. The reunion. As a matter of fact, I think there's a page here where I always thought this page was so ridiculous, but kind of badass. Yeah, where she punches Helena here, the Huntress. That's kind of awesome. I like that angle. Now, talked enough about the story. You can find out for yourself what you think about this. Let's look in the back for some extras. So back here we have the cover gallery. These are all the variants. I really like that Eddie Barrows take on his own cover. of the Puppet Master. This is from issue number 13, which all of the Bat family had that: Batman, Nightwing. That's the cover design here by Jim Lee. So these are character studies. So was it Jim Lee that designed the custom? Yeah, I guess it was. I really didn't... I don't remember that. There's the mirror. Oh, there is a character of Nightfall that's introduced here. There's also, of course, the Court of the Owls that show up. So it does tie heavily into the Bat family and what's going on in the pages of Batman, Scott Snyder's Batman during this time. I think that's the Year Zero issue. And then the covers here by Adam Hughes and others. Oh, Ed Bennis. All right. Let's look at this binding. I do love this. This is from Future's End, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So here is your eye. It is sewn binding, and they do have the glue that they like to put. Not as bad as Scott Snyder's first printing by any means. The paper quality is really thick, though. I like that. It's this thick, glossy paper. But no page numbers. They don't tell you what issue you're on. You just kind of have to, like I said, get a bookmark when it comes to books like this. There's no table of contents. Not that it would have helped, but you don't know when you're reading the annual. You don't know when you're reading issue 0 or Future's End storyline or the Valentine's Day special. But, you know, we've seen other Omnis from DC and from Marvel like this in the past. Now, let's look at the gutter loss. And actually, let's go to the front. So 960 pages. I think this is pretty damn good, honestly. We're looking at the first issue, and the pages are staying down. It's good. Let's see if we can find a spread here. So here's the spread pages in the second issue, mainly focusing on her cape. There's a little bit of gutter loss here. You can tell because you can't even see her knee. But like I said, bothers some people, doesn't bother others. Let's get in the middle. Not quite the middle. As a matter of fact, we're about 300 pages in, but this is the fight with Nightfall, and just wanted to show you what that looks like. Very, very minimal gutter loss there, and all the way in the back. I love this 2-page spread, so I had to come back to this page where she's just beating the crap out of Helena. But this is what it looks like. Like I said, when it comes to the front and the back, minimal gutter loss, and in the middle, hardly anything. But that, as they say, is that. Now, when this book comes out, don't forget to check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this omnibus. Let me know if you're picking it up, if you already have the trade paperbacks and you're happy with those, if you've never read any of Gail Simone's Batgirl, and if you've read it, what you thought of it. Do you think it was overrated, underrated? Did it make you a fan of Barbara Gordon, or do you miss the days of Oracle? Me, I still miss Oracle, but hey, what are you going to do? This is the Uncanny Omar. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. Speaking of live, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the amazing Amanda and I are going to be reviewing the first 3 episodes of Superman and Lois Lane. So, join us for that. Again, Uncanny Omar here, signing off. Everybody stay healthy, stay safe. Much love.